Hey guys, a very good morning and welcome to a new daily market outlook. So yesterday we saw some really amazing moves on the DXY and on euro dollar. So a lot of us within also the Discord were able to capitalize on euro dollar, and I hope so you too. So with that said, let's see if euro dollar is still going to go up, and yeah, let's just dive straight in. So to begin with, the DXY currently rejected from that 92.989 level, and it rejected really hard, as we can see. However, we saw a very large wick on the 4 hour, which stood for some rejection, of course, and shortly after we started moving back up in towards the highs. So at the moment, what I'm seeing on the DXY is this potential ascending wedge, with of course the second high being at 93.039. On which a fake out could happen. This would also be a double top and a nice scooping formation to then drop further in towards the downside. So what I'm currently waiting for is one more push up on the DXY to at least 93.039 to then see if we're going to see any rejection. We could also move higher in towards 93.232 until we finally start dropping hard once again. So I am a big fan of this ascending wedge, and I do expect it to play out. So once we do break out, what we'll be doing is we're going to be waiting for a clear break of this trend line. Shortly after, wait for the retest of structure to then take an additional short further in towards the lows. Currently not watching any longs on the DXY, as I'm not really a big fan of an overall extended move alongside these ascending channels on the daily and an ascending wedge on the 4 hour. So that is it for the DXY for today. Just pointing that out. So with that said, let's head over to Aussie dollar. So Aussie dollar, I'm not a really big fan of Aussie dollar at the moment. It's not really tradable in my opinion. As you guys can see, we have some demand over here at 0.73037. However, the fundamentals on the Australian dollar are really bad at the moment, since Sydney is closing down due to COVID. So I'm not a big fan of Australian dollar at the moment. However, once we get into this demand zone, we could look and start looking for a pullback, as the overall market structure on Aussie dollar is really overextended. As you guys can see, we've seen this entire move in towards the downside from 0.75 all the way to approximately 0.73 without seeing a real pullback. So it just shows that the overextended nature of price at the moment is getting worse and worse. And if we compare it to other situations like this, we'll then see that after a very long period of just downside movements, we do in most instances see a pullback occur, which is pretty hard as well. Over here, as you guys can see, we saw a very large move in towards the lows. After that, a nice and large retracement back up, So with that said, I am expecting a retracement back up in towards the highs. If it were to happen from here, I would really love it, but we'll have to look for some reversal patterns on the lower time frame in the form of a descending channel or wedge in towards this area of demand. So that is it for Aussie dollar. Not really beautiful. Let's head over to euro dollar. So euro dollar really gave us some beautiful profits yesterday. As you guys can see, we saw a massive move from this area of 1.17719. So what I pointed out yesterday was that we had this area of consolidation, and I was waiting for that push lower to fake out on the yellow line. That played out to absolute perfection. So what we can now see is that we took out the stop losses above the highs over here because we had equal highs. So as you can see, we exactly spiked out this swing high. Stop losses got taken out, and we're now seeing a retracement back down in towards the lows. So at the moment, there is an area of demand over here within the market from 1.17774, from where we could see some more upside occur, dependent on when the DXY starts to drop. At the moment, you can't really say a lot about euro dollar. We're just going to be waiting until the DXY decides it's time to drop. If we do move a little bit lower, I will be looking for a re-entry on this pair, dependent of course on the DXY and if it gives us what we need in the form of that ascending wedge, right? So still expecting more upside on euro dollar. At the moment we do have this 618 fib set up over here, and we're nearing this area of demand a little bit lower to then go potentially long. So it's still looking pretty good for euro dollar. I'm only not going to be a real big fan of it once we start closing underneath this swing low over here, because once we close underneath that, it's going to get a little bit harder for euro dollar to get that momentum up once again to move up in towards the highs. A fake out on that swing low, not that big of a problem, but really like 2 multiple closes underneath this low, it's going to be hard for euro dollar to regain some momentum. So yeah, that is it for euro dollar. Still expecting more upside. So let's head over to pound dollar. And pound dollar, kind of the same as Aussie dollar, really just skipping this pair at the moment. As you guys can see, we are currently at this major swing low and at the third trendline touch. However, haven't gone long whatsoever due to the overextended nature of price at the moment. As you guys can see, the momentum is just really strong in towards the downside. We don't have any reversal pattern whatsoever. So at the moment, I'm just going to be leaving pound dollar for what it is. Yeah, maybe we do form something later today in the form of a descending wedge, descending channel. We could start looking for longs, but at the moment, yeah, this is just an overextended move, and we're just going to let it do what it wants to do. And yeah, we're not going to really engage, as euro dollar, for instance, is a much better pair to trade at the moment. All I can say is that it does look good for a pullback at the moment. There aren't really any obvious areas of demand from where that pullback could happen. That's why I'm just mainly focusing on swing lows. And this is a really obvious swing low. So if we don't fake out on this swing low or these 2 swing lows over here and start retracing back up in towards the upside after this overextended move, we could potentially start dropping even further, yeah, approximately in towards this area over here, which is 1.36054 or 1.36. So that's kind of the next level I am watching. So yeah, that's pound dollar. Let's head over to Kiwi dollar. Yeah, so Kiwi dollar, not really interesting anymore. Yeah, really just decided that it didn't want to go up at all. At the moment, Kiwi dollar just consolidating, not a big fan of it at all. As we can see, we're kind of breaking out of that daily area of consolidation. If we do see daily close underneath this level, I will be waiting for us to drop even lower in towards 0.664 or 949, excuse me. But yeah, for the time being, Kiwi dollar isn't really good and isn't really interesting. If we do see a pullback, we could potentially see a nice entry at a certain point. But yeah, sometimes with these pairs, you just have to let them go, let them evolve, and just wait for some cleaner price action and for some price action that suits your strategy. And at the moment, Kiwi dollar isn't really fitting into that perfect picture that I want. So yeah, there's also just the more reason just let it go. And therefore, I'm just going to really mainly be focusing on euro dollar and potentially pound dollar, but it will be mainly euro dollar, as that is the most beautiful pair at the moment. So yep, that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I wish you all an amazing day, and if you have any questions whatsoever, make sure to reach out to me. Thanks, guys.